Hey guys, this is Sandeep, and today we're going to be going over the Topic 7 office hours. We're going to be covering the lists practice problems and some other useful information about lists. So, in the practice problems, we are given our MyList, which is of data type list. And when you're creating a list, you need to type list, and then within these sharp brackets is the data type. The reason it's a capital I integer is because a capital I integer is the wrapper class of the primitive int data type. So we have list, integer, MyList. So it'll hold a bunch of integers in the list. And it works kind of similar to arrays, but there's some other useful things that we can get into later. So when we run mylist.size, it's just like an array.length. It returns the number of indexes in the list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 indexes. So our size is 4, even though the indexes go from 0 to 3, just like an array. MyList.getThree will get the third index, which in this case is the last index. So we go to the third index, get the value 0, so it will return 0. When we do mylist.add, we will add this 6 value to the end of the list. So we go to the end, which is normally 3, and then we add another index and give that the value of 6. If we ran size after running this add function, then our size would be 5. When you're adding, you can also have 2 arguments. The first argument would be at a certain index, and the second argument is the value. So in this case, we go to the first index. Remember up here, the first index was -8. And before we go to that first index, and then we add the new value before that current index. So it adds 6 before -8. And it shifts all the indexes after 1 to the next index. So what was at index 1 is now index 2, and so on. Same thing in this one. We're just adding -3. Oh, no, sorry. This one is set. So when we're setting, we overwrite the value that is in the index. So set index 2 to value 3. Index 2 used to be value 5, but now we set it to -3. When we remove, we just remove that index, and then we shift everything accordingly. So when we remove 0, it's the first index, then every other index gets shifted 1 to the left. So index 1 becomes index 0. You can see that in this table. This one's interesting. mylist.set3, mylist.set210. So we'll work from the inside out. So first we look at mylist.set210. What that is going to do is set the second index to 10. And when you set something, the return value of this function is whatever what used to be in index 2. So when we change index 2 from 5 to 10, it will return 5. So this mylist.set210, after executing, becomes a 5. So then it's mylist.set3, 5. So we're doing 2 sets in the same line here. And you can see that here, the index 2 becomes 10, it returns a 5, and then it sets 3 to 5. This next one works the same way. We're setting 3 to mylist.set0, mylist.get3. So same way, we're going to go from the inside out. So first we look at mylist.get3. We'll get the value in the third index, which is 0. Okay, then we take 0. We take this mylist.get3, which is 0, and we set 0 to 0 because we're doing mylist.set 0 to 0. And remember when we're doing this set function, it will return whatever used to be in the 0 index. So when we're changing 0 to 0, it will return a 10 because 10 is what used to be in index 0. Then once we have that 10, we can set index 3 to value 10. Okay. So this is just demonstrating how the size changes when we add something. So we added 3, so index 4 was added to it, and the value set to 3. And then the size is now 5 because we have 5 total indexes. Here we set number 2, index 2 to 4, and it returns the value 5 because that's what used to be in index 2. Then we add 1, 5. So before index 2, it adds a new element, and it is 5. That doesn't have a return value. Add doesn't return, but set and size return a value. Setting 2 to 4 will return what used to be in 2. And we'll see up here, when we added 1, 5, what used to be index 1 is now index 2. So setting 2 to 4 returns a negative 8. And then we do size, and it's the same thing. We have 5 indexes, so we return 5. Looking at this interface, we see this interface has 2 functions, get top and get bottom, right? So when project implements this interface, we have to implement both of these functions in the interface. There'll be more information on interfaces on the interface practice video. So you see that we implement this get top, and what this method does is it will go through the list and find the biggest value. It does through by iterating through each element, comparing that to the current maximum, and then finding the final maximum and returning that. Get bottom works the same way to find the minimum value. And then we just create our lists, objects, and we run these functions, and it works perfectly fine. Some other information about lists you can find if you Google just lists Java, and you can find this docs.oracle.com. This is where all the information on all the Java classes are going to be found. So you can find a lot of information about not only lists, but also integer wrapper types, and any kind of object that Java implements. You can find a lot of information in here. Here it goes through, how the lists work, how they compare to other objects. And then this is a method summary. It shows all the different methods. We have add element E. We can add an element at an index. We can clear it. We can find out if it contains some object. We can do all these types of things, and I really encourage you to look through all of these and see what kind of things you can do with lists. They're really powerful objects, and they can help you a lot in your programming from now until 20 years down the road. Lists are very helpful in that. Then after the summary of methods, it goes into a little more detail, talking about what each method is going to be doing, what their parameters are, and what the return types are. So when we were looking at set, we'll just find set. If you click it, it'll take you down here. And we see that the parameters for set are an index, an element, and that it returns the element previously at the specified position. So I hope this kind of information helps you, and I hope you guys learned a lot in this video, and I'll see you next time.